Are you a coach, consultant, small business owner, or online entrepreneur? Do you want to significantly grow your business, triple your list, and double your sales conversions? If the answer is yes, then launching a podcast is the next step. You see, being an expert in your field, having a website is no longer enough to be noticed in today's marketplace. I call it the influencer effect. Being an influencer is the key. You see, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And having your own podcast helps people to connect with you. If you're interested in having me help you launch your own podcast, grow your influence, and promote your business, then go to influencergrowthformula.com. That's influencergrowthformula.com. And let me help you rise to the top.
And now, welcome to Like a Boss, insights with influencers, creatives, online entrepreneurs, and badasses like you. Here is your hostess, Heather Havenwood, Chief Sexy Boss, helping you rise to the top.
Hi everyone, my name is Heather Havenwood and welcome. I'm super excited to have you. So many of you know my name is Heather Havenwood and I'm a sales and marketing coach, as well as I help people launch their own podcasts and shows around the world. So if you're interested in actually growing your traffic and growing your expertise and growing your influence, reach out to us at heatherhavenwood.com. So today we have someone on the line, which I'm super excited to talk to them about. One, he's in Arkansas, which I have a whole story of my family's in Arkansas, so that's kind of fun. We actually had a good time in the green room talking about that. But first, let me explain to you who Derek Champagne is. He's a serial entrepreneur with over 15 years experience developing effective marketing campaigns. And Derek shares his story of growing up with humble beginnings on the stage at age 3, his years as a Hollywood musician, and his diverse journey to get where he is today. He's a CEO and founder of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building memorable brands, marketing tools, and campaigns for startups and household brands. Now, Derek, are you there?
I am here. Thank you so much, Heather. Love your show. Thanks for having me as a guest.
Thanks. It's going to be a ton of fun. So, we were talking kind of in the green room, what I call the green room behind the scenes of what's happening today in the, what I call agency world. Marketing agency is a broad term. There's tons and tons and tons of marketing agencies out there. And most of them, this is generalized speaking, most of them are what I call done for you, where they sell a client and then they say, hey, we're going to be your marketing department. We're going to do all the different strategies for you, either social media structure or other different campaigns. You kind of what I call a recovery marketing agency, and you're moving, right? You're moving into kind of a new structure. And so I want you to first talk about the Artist Evolution, and let's talk about your story of how you started this business.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again. So basically for me, I had a career in music for many years. So I lived in LA and did the whole music thing there, had music on TV shows and had businesses there. I've always been a serial entrepreneur. So I've had 8 companies, 4 have failed. And 4 have done pretty well. So I always tell people, if you give me your money, I've got a 50% chance of losing it or making something good happen with it. But I embrace failure all the time. That's another show, but I'm good with that. But when I started the Artist Evolution, basically I had an opportunity in 2007. I was working for another agency. Our clients were Dial, T-Mobile, Rubbermaid, Crayola, you name it. I had moved from Hollywood, which is another story, back to Northwest Arkansas, where I had grown up for part of my life. And I found myself working at this kind of Walmart retail agency. Basically, Northwest Arkansas, for those that don't know, is kind of the retail CPG mecca of marketing in the world, because Sam's Club and Walmart are headquartered here. So in 2007 or 2008, Walmart made it a mandate that any vendor that wanted to do business with them worldwide had to have a physical office in Bentonville, Arkansas. So I went back to Northwest Arkansas because it was a booming marketing economy, worked for this agency, wasn't loving it. It was all retail focused. And if you grew up in Northwest Arkansas, you either loved Walmart or hated it. And I was one of those that said, I'm going to get out of town. I'm not going to be one of those people that works for Walmart. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I have lots of friends that are high level guys there and gals there. But that wasn't always my dream. So I ended up being back in Northwest Arkansas after a whole career in other parts of the country and working for an agency doing Walmart retail accounts. And so in 2007, I just saw this opportunity for me to make a change. And I wanted to form an anti-agency, which I think is going to kind of transition into our conversation, because I started with wanting to have an anti-agency anyway. Over the years, though, we kind of became more traditional because you kind of have to when you put systems and processes in place to grow. But so in 2007, I branched off my own and I started the Artist Evolution. The reason it's called the Artist Evolution is because, again, I'm a serial entrepreneur like many of your audience and you. And I already had the LLC, and I was already had a business where I was kind of helping artists during the crash of the record labels, which I was in. I was in the music industry during the literal crash when Napster came out, and we had all record deals, and all of our friends were signed to major labels, and were bartending. You know, it was a big deal. I was part of that transition. So during that time, as I was growing the agency, though, we kind of became we will do whatever you need us to do. We'll hustle. We'll get it done. You need a video. We'll do a video. You need strategy. I'm great with strategy. I've led grassroots and marketing.
You did what you needed to do. You know what I mean?
And we did it well.
Right.
Like many of your listeners, we did it well. We figured it out. And we built great strategy. You wanted to implement a campaign? We did it great. You need a brand? We built a brand. And that was fine. And we went up to having household names. You name a household brand, some of our clients have been internationally recognized clients with that. So we've had some big clients. We've also had a ton of startups. So from startups to household brands, that's what we work with in every single industry. So
and that's impressive. That's impressive, right? But then there's something that happens with that. Like you can only get so big or go after big brands. What was that transition to kind of what I call the anti-agency?
Here's actually what happened for us. What happened for us, it was a kind of fatigue level with my team.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Right? One is we realized we were juggling 99 things well.
Yeah.
And we were doing okay. Like maybe we were placing AdWords when we shouldn't have been because we're really better at strategy. And so we were doing too many things. We were all things to all people. And Jason Swank is a friend of mine. He helps a lot of agencies. I went through his course. Don't know if you know him or not. I actually was just on his podcast a few days ago. And I went through his course, actually. I said, this is ridiculous. You're doing exactly what we help other people do. And he's like, Derek, we had a conversation. He said, he guessed it for me. I was kind of bragging. He's like, so what kind of people do you work with? And I was just bragging all the different industries, America's Car Mart, multi-billion-dollar brand all over the country, done stuff with this Ivy League school. And he's just like, And I thought he was going to be impressed and say, he's like, yeah, you got to niche down. And man, it hit me hard because I knew he was right. And that's what we always tell our clients to do, right? Yeah. We can niche, go after it, focus on your services, be an inch wide and a mile deep. All the cliches.
All the things that we, it's just the old adage of the great carpenter doesn't have the best things in his house, but he makes it for somebody else, right?
That's right. So for me, the big transition though for me when I realized, I knew I was about 18 months out. I work in these mastermind groups, and my board of advisors were saying, I was telling them, hey, I feel like it's not just me feeling, but the marketing landscape is changing. There's technology keeps changing so fast. The availability of technology, the availability of working with clients around the world, the availability for an overnight agency to pop up every single day. There's new agencies.
Right.
And so you're always in competition, singing for your dinner about your latest performance of your matrix.
Of your last thing, right? So like, look what we just did for X, and that's right. Sell Y. And you can get on a treadmill with that. I mean, I'm working at a co-working agency right now, and I could still tell you that there's 3 or 4 agencies in this co-working space, right? And they're all kind of different. So I just think it's interesting. They're all agencies. I'm like, who's here? Like agency.
Right.
But what's happening with the agency market today? Let's take that back. What did you transition into? Did you just go, okay, we're going to niche on something specific, or what?
Well, yeah, and if you don't mind, we tried something last year. So we knew something was coming. So last year, here's what we decided to do. We saw ourselves going up against competition that we shouldn't have been. We're like, why are we going up against X agency over here? All they do is websites. But we do websites too, but we really build campaigns and manage them, right? Like a traditional retainer, like in the beginning of your show. But why are we going up against them? And people think we're competition. So we said, let's try something. Let's go against our competition. Let's commoditize videos and website for 1 year. That was about 15% of our revenue. And we're a growing company. And I said, let's try that. And we did that for a full year. And we got a bunch of new retainers from it. So we saw, all things being equal, that if we could add the value of a free website, free video, instead of fighting our competition for it, we just cut their legs out from under them. That worked for about 8 or 9 months. But again, we saw the marketplace changing. Again, we saw the loyalty and retention rates change. So we said, and here was my final straw. And I was telling this in the green room a little bit. We lost a lot of money in January of this year. As I was saying, we were 18 months out from making a change. We outsold it, but we also had a big chunk of business not renew with us. Oof. And we remember one client was with us for 7 years, Heather. We talk to them every single day of the week, one of my account managers does. had them in owning 98% of market share in every single category you could think of, from TV, radio, Google AdWords, everything, Heather, everything. And they love us. But we sang for dinner 3 times in a meeting, and one board member decided to make a change, and boom, we were done. And I took it really personally. It was a big 6-figure loss for us, just at one point. I said, man, this really hurts. And we had a few others not renew. And I said, there's something happening right now. And one of the things was our expectation of clients. And I said, we've got to flip our expectation of clients, because we had one client who was for 10 years. We're a 10-year-old agency with clients saying, with 10 years. That says something to our care.
So I want to stop this for a second, because this is a really good point, is the expectations that you as a company owner had to shift the expectations of your client. That is huge. If you're a coach, consultant, same thing, agency, anything we expect. Right. I mean, I'm going to share a little bit here. So when I was traveling the country doing seminars back in the day and teaching people how to buy and sell real estate, and we would sell $3,000, $10,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 seminars. Someone said to us, I think it's really, they were trying to put us down. Bad of you that you keep selling these products, 10,000, taking people's money, quote unquote, and they're not successful. And I saw that, and I remember my mentor, Ron LeGrand at the time, who's been in the business for like 30 years or 40 years at this point. He said, it's not our responsibility to get them to do the work. It's only our responsibility to sell them and to deliver the content such that it is successful if they choose to do it. He said, we have done our job. Even if they've never opened the book or ever go to the seminar or ever do a thing, we still fulfilled our job. And that kind of shifted things for me, so that I knew that my expectation of the client was pretty much, if they succeeded, even better. But my expectation of the client was about 5 inches deep. And it helped me, because when I did see someone completely succeed, it was like, awesome. Like, it overmet my expectations. But even though they were customers and kind of clients, I saw them come through some clients came through a year. The moment I shifted my brain, then it allowed me to shift how I sold, how I communicated, how I spoke about it. And so that's why I hear that happened to you. So what was the shift? So
true. And so our shift was a couple things. One was seeing fatigue with my team. And I said, we've got to make a change. And so we did a couple things. One is we shifted, we revisit our core values. And I promised our team this. I said, if you live these 9 core values, then my focus will go to employee development and to holding the vision of our company. And then this is always right, not the customer's always right. Because if we do this right, the customer's always going to be taken care of because we're delivering like we need to. And that's my shift, because we used to say, no, the customer's always right. And it caused all this fatigue. So that was one shift. The next shift is changing our expectations of the client and how we delivered our service and our repositioning of our expectations. So we used to want a multi-year contract. If the contract ended, we were offended. Why did it end? They're our friends. They're paying us money. We want multi-years. We can't mess with our clients for years and years.
No divorce. You're not supposed to divorce.
No divorce. So we decided we're going to end the relationship on our terms, and so here's what we did. We developed a plan for 8 weeks. And first thing we did is we said, what are we really, really, really good at? And whatever we're not the best at, whatever we were delivering and people are just blown away by, that's the only things we're going to do. We went back to the drawing board and we said, we are one of the best in the country at strategy. We build a really good strategy that gets results. So we're going to build these playbooks. And then we do want the implementation, because that's part of our revenue stream. It's retainers. But instead of it being a year retainer, we're going to make it a 11-month retainer. I'm sorry, 3 12. So we did 3 12-week years. So we did 8 weeks of developing a plan and then 3 12-week implementation phases. So now you went from getting a plan developed to going through our 3-phase program, and then you're graduated, you're out. And as part of that, we're training their marketing team. We're moving them over. But here's the interesting thing, Heather, is as we've been doing that, they don't want to let us go at the end now. So they move into another level of retainer, which is what our business has always been. But our outbound strategy and our whole shift has been, you work with us for 11 months total, 2 months of a plan development and 3 12-week years, 3 12 weeks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 3 12. So let's go 12 week, 12 week, which is a quarter.
That's right.
Quarter.
But we follow the 12-week. We follow the 12-week year anyway by Brian Moran. We live that. Our business already lives that book. We implemented that a while ago with sales. So our years are 12 weeks anyway in our own business. And so we decided to implement that to the client as well. So what that shifted for us is now we go out and sell. One is we raised our prices of our plans by 400%.
Wow. Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
so I just want to,
this
this is great, right? I want y'all to get this because what he shifted was a sales conversation. He shifted the sales structure and he created phases, because just like anything, if we try to sell the whole elephant, most people can't, people can't ingest that. They can only ingest a leg at a time, but they can know that you're providing the whole elephant, eating an elephant one bite at a time. Okay, so what I heard you say, I'm just going to repeat it. So
please.
I got it. So your strategy A, right, selling the strategy is 3 sessions of 12 weeks. Is that the strategy, or when's the strategy?
We build a strategic marketing plan.
That's the first 12 weeks?
That takes us 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Okay.
Then we do 3 12-week phases.
And that's implementation.
Yes, that's implementation. And that first 12 weeks, depending on the client, they might be doing some brand adjusting. They might be doing some web adjustments. But by the third phase, either we're handing it off to their team or we're helping train their team. But we all have the same end and goal in mind. So keep in mind also, Heather, one other facet of this is that we realize that we have to work with marketing departments. I'm sorry, we get to work with marketing departments, because I don't really, respectfully, the larger clients they have a marketing team. They do. The growing bigger companies they have a marketing manager of some kind. If they don't, we might have some issues anyway. And so we already know that our best clients have marketing departments. No matter how skilled they are, they have a title marketing director. Yeah. And sometimes very advanced. And so we decided we need to reposition ourselves as the CMO's BFF.
Ooh, okay. This is good. This is good. Again, I want to bring this up to everybody because I've had experience myself where I've come in and the marketing department of the company I was doing strategy for felt threatened, and it was going to end up in a long-term deal. And that got, because that 2 people actually started kind of, everything I said started fighting me because they felt threatened by me versus wanting to work with me. Right. And I did that wrong. So my question to you in the green room was like, how are you doing that? How are you positioning that from the onset? So that we CMO
empower them. We become a tool for them, a tool that makes sure that they're successful, to make sure their ideas get heard, to make sure the budget they want gets delivered, and to make sure that they have a support team to go, yeah, she's right. Your marketing director is right. Why haven't you been implementing that? Do it now. We sit at the table now, and we've had marketing managers who've been trying to get something approved for 6 months. We sit in the table as their support team around them, virtually or in person, and they're getting the budgets approved now, and they're the hero. So our job is to make them the hero. So we have marketingstrategyhero.net. We have everything's about them being the hero. You're Batman, we're Robin, and everything we do talks to them. So if you go to, I think it's marketingstrategyhero.net, you go there and it says you're here because you're a busy CMO, busy marketing manager. It's okay to vent here. Does this sound familiar? You're managing all these different hats. You're managing trade shows. You're trying to do this. Your team stretched. It's okay. And we even have a button that says ready to vent. And then we say, here's how we can help you. And it keeps them as the hero. And then it says, and then we have a thing that goes, you already got your strategy figured out? Because whoa, some marketing directors are so proud of their strategy. No problem. We're here to help. And then that just moves us into a heavy lifting retainer where we come in and support their implementation.
Implementation. Yeah.
Yes, so the language changes. And by changing the language, because we know we have to work with marketing departments. We have a proven track record of helping good marketing teams grow. That's where we've always been in our zone of genius, in our business. We just got distracted from it but think about that. If you can get the marketing team on your team, if you can work with them, if they're happy, you have longevity. So I said our goal was 11 months total, 8 weeks, and then 12 weeks. But really, you have even longer contract with them, or even a longer renewal with them. But so in our mind, we're letting them go.
So you're really shifting the agency model. And I want to point this out. So something I read every day or every other day is read the Wall Street Journal CMO Today, which is basically the vision of Wall Street Journal for the CMO, which is Chief Marketing Officer. And I find it interesting because one, everything in there is about agency, tech, advertising, right? And a lot of it has to do with what's going on with the CMOs and the challenges they're dealing with. It's not highlighted enough. It's not highlighted. We don't focus on that. We're focused on marketing. And like you said, coming in with this great strategy, but here's the CMO is like, wait a minute, I'm getting paid a six-figure, I'm a freaking executive, and you're going to come in with a different strategy. I don't align with that. You're out, you know, and that's what happens. Agencies try to fight with the CMO versus align with the CMO.
Right. And you become a casualty.
You have agency world and you have CMO world, and they're clashing. The old days before the big internet kind of thing, the CMO would hire the agency, right? Because they did the implementation of the media buying and all that. But nowadays, the CMO has their own strategy, and they want to say, hey, here, implementation team, do it. But then you have an agency who's fighting that versus saying, okay, let's get alignment with it.
Absolutely. And the way we position, and again, it's all in positioning.
Yeah.
All in your position. You say, our job is to come in and audit what they're doing. And we're always, everything we do is careful. We don't use big speak. We don't use big marketing agency speak, because that usually sets them off. We'll speak their language. And we have found this: the very smartest, most intimidating CMO marketers that are the smartest minds are actually our favorite clients.
Really?
Because
why is
we
that?
end up speaking the same language. We can do it in a humble way. We support them, and they're smart, and they see the value of what we do. And so that's actually our favorite one. The most educated, smartest marketer is actually going to be on our side. So instead of us being against each other, we team up, and that's our job. And it's all in us coming across as confident, but with humility, and we are there to support them. It's their campaign. That makes all the difference in the world.
It makes all the difference in the world. This is really good. So by the way, I suggest anyone who's in this position or an agency world or whatnot, who's a CMO, I would go to Wall Street Journal and read what's happening, because there is a whole world in the agency world of what's working, what's not working. And what you're finding is I'm talking big agency like the Weiland and stuff like that, they are they're down 15%. I don't know if you know that. They're down in revenue 15%. And the reason that is, at least in the article was, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, the reason that is because so many companies are creating their own marketing departments.
Right.
So that's what you're fighting against. Any agency out there is fighting against the company saying, why don't we just bring this in-house? Or
that's another, you bring up a great point. So this is another way we're combating that.
Yeah.
We're saying, absolutely, bring it in-house. Let us be the transition team while you bring it in-house. So when we go after companies that are growing. So think of like a bank that's either being acquired or in acquisition mode. They're generally behind a little bit. So they're not the most, respectfully, for those that might hear this, they're not always the most cutting edge marketing departments.
Banks now.
There's compliance issues, right? So they're slow to adapt trends.
Right.
So we come in actually as their partner going, hey, we understand, but we understand these trends with you. Well, let us come in and help you. Yes, you want your own team? Great. Let us help you transition to have your team. You don't need to go hire 10 people now or 5 people now for a fraction of that cost. Bring us in. Let us help you fill the gaps in strategy, bring you into the next century with you, help you with the tools, help you with this implementation, and then you're good. So they don't see us as a threat. They see us as a tool. We're a transition tool now instead of being a threat. And that's the whole mindset that we have to be. And we're doing this because we have to, because in the marketing world, as you know, it is a saturated market. You can throw a rock and hit an agency. Every single time you log into Facebook or LinkedIn, my target, they see another better, supposedly, solution for getting their conversions and clicks up. And so they start to get this false sense of security that, oh, well, if these guys are doing the strategy over here, that seems old school, but over here, there's something newer. And so they're quicker to fire and try new things.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I think they're overwhelmed, and CMOs get head up every single day by agencies. But again, you have to get an understanding of the mindset of a CMO. They're in a CMO position because they're probably kind of intelligent with marketing, and they want to have their own strategy implemented so they look good. So the only way to get into their head is to say, whatever your strategy is, let's implement that for you. Let's align with those strategy, and then we'll do it for you so you look great. So we empower you versus going in combat, and your job isn't lying, because people will. That's not how you do it. Win friends and influence people. Right. Dale Carnegie 101, right?
Right. You got it.
101.
You got it.
Okay, so let's talk about your strategy. How are you selling that strategy in such a way where, let's say you have a CMO, like, well, we have our own strategy. How do you sell your strategy if they're coming and going? That could be a potential competition.
Yeah, so that it sounds like it would be, but I'll say this: a lot of our target don't have a strategy. So yes, we're coming and implementing theirs, but I want to shift that a little bit.
Sure, go ahead. Please.
We're complementing their strategy and filling in gaps with other things that work. And how are we able to do that? Because we've managed campaigns all across the country. Our spend and our experience is vast. And so, but we'd never say that to them. But when we show them our plans, them our plans and make them the hero still, there's a light bulb that goes off almost every single time because it's advanced enough in the way our graphs are built out and the way we fill in the gaps and the way we show and justify spending. There's enough, the light bulb goes off and there's enough there where it's less about threatening and more about the tool, especially when they're getting credit. And again, we've sat at the table with them and said, hey, as John will tell you, as John said 100 times, because we saw it in the audit, this needed to happen yesterday. This is really the messaging. And they'll be like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, and John will look over and go, thank you. I mean, really, it's been that empowering.
I've been saying that for 6 months, dude.
Yeah,
right.
No, I get it.
If there is a CMO that has super intelligent, has a rock star strategy that they've refined over 20 years or 10 years or whatever, and has every partner in place, they may not be a fit for us. But if there's any room for improvement at all, and they're in any adjustment, and that's why we go after clients like banks, and then also healthcare technology. And let me tell you specifically why it's healthcare technology, because they grow fast, they have money to spend. So they go from 0 to maybe $20 to $100 million in 3 or 4 years, right? Just because their technology took them there. And then they look around and go, now we have competition coming in.
Yeah.
Now we're trying to go into other markets. We're trying to figure out our new management team with this growth. And that's where we can come in and go, great. They have a CMO by title probably, but they may have been positioned there with not all the same experience that you're talking about with the same pedigree.
Right.
We come in there and it's easy for us to come in and be the hero and easy for them to go, oh, there's a lifeline for me. Yes. I'm like, don't figure out hiring the whole team right now.
I think that, and tell me what you think, but I think that a CMO, when you're an employee, the title CMO, you have to sometimes be careful what you say, right? And push.
Right.
But when you're a consultant strategist coming in on first phase, and you can kind of say whatever the hell you want, right? Because it's like, this is what needs to happen. And if they don't like it, it's okay. You're still getting paid. You got paid for the strategy. And then, if you don't get the implementation, you don't get the implementation. And you can know that with your background. You can say, hey, you really need to be doing freaking AdWords. And, John said that, your CMO said that. So we completely align with that. He's freaking right. You need to do it.
Right.
You can kind of come in with a little bit of dude, your dude's right, dude, and or your CMO is right. And so that gives them this oh, thank you. But it doesn't feel like it's a competition if you do that right.
You got that completely right. And again, another positioning thing is where, if there's gaps, we call it a playbook. And we had a client recently of a big company, and they said, and they kind of recoined it. We used playbook for years, but it's why we decided to take it too. And this guy sitting there and he goes, big CMO. And he goes, dude, this is a playbook for our company. And this company is in 8,000 stores they're a big company. And I'm like, yes, that's a playbook. He's like, yeah, this is something he can go back to like a quarterback. And we always tell him, you're the quarterback. You're the quarterback. We're helping you make the plays and helping you as your team. Okay, quarterback.
Okay, so your position is what? If they're the quarterback, what's your position?
We're on the team.
You're on the team. We're the team. We're a team
that happen to be really smart strategists and execution specialists.
Okay, got it. You get the running back. You got the.
That's right. Our job, and I'll tell you, this is what I say all the time. Our job is to help you make first downs.
Say it again.
Our job is to help you keep making first downs. Because good marketing doesn't always happen with a Hail Mary or catching it at the 10-yard line and running it. Most good marketing happens first down at a time. In football, you want to get another first down. If you get first downs, you keep going. And when you
love football analogies. I freaking love it.
Right? It's first downs.
It makes sense. You never win the game by just focusing on getting to the finish line. You focus on the first down.
Yes. Think of an overwhelmed marketing director.
Right.
That you say, I'm going to help you. Hey, quarterback, look at our track record. Mm-hmm. Here's your updated playbook, which is the best strategy out there that shows your competition, shows you all of those things in there. We help them relook at their competition in a different way. And so it's pretty advanced. And then at the end of it, we're your team. So quarterback, let's go.
Oh, so, okay. So Dallas Cowboys are the best. And,
of course. Right. I'm spoken by a true Cowboys fan.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying there's nobody else than the Cowboys. No, they did not get the Super Bowl, but let's, give them a break. Next year's here. I'm a huge fan, obviously. But the analogy is great. I think that what happens with agencies in general, because I've had a lot of agencies on this show interviewing them, and they kind of have they have the attitude of when you first started, which is not bad, but they just you need a video, we got it. You need Google AdWords, right. We got it. You want Facebook AdWords, we can do that too. And that's the big agencies. That's the mindset they've had for many years. And people have written them big checks because they didn't understand it enough.
Right.
But that's changing. And so now that they're going, hey, we don't need to give this agency ridiculous amount of money to do Facebook ads when we can hire a person who does all they do all day for $40,000 a year plus their ad budget. And they become an expert because they're doing it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Then we don't have to pay them $200,000 a year for Facebook ads. Boom, that's gone revenue, right? So I think that's what's happening is when you and I first started, I got my master's degree in online marketing in 2011. My first business was online 01. It was kind of the mystery. And that's why these agencies got such big money, because it was the mystery of it. Yeah. But that mystery is dissipating. And so now anybody can go on to any kind of Udemy or other companies and learn how to do pretty much anything.
Right.
So you have to be able to come from what is the elixir that's different, and you figured it out. It's called strategy, because there's so many avenues and so many roads. The right agency is going to come in and say, we have the right agency, we have the right strategy for you.
You've got it. And sometimes even the smartest marketer does get overwhelmed. And if I can give a quick plug for my book real quick, Don't Buy a Duck, I talk about the 5 crisis points in marketing. And I talk about this specifically of all the choices. In 1960s, there was 5 marketing channels. If you've seen the show Mad Men, which is great.
Of course, I've seen Mad Men.
But it's not fair, because you and I probably come up with ideas like that in a morning, and we don't celebrate with a 3-month binge to California.
Well, hold on a second. Like, if I could have bourbon and scotch in the middle of the day,
that's different, right?
I would come up with some really good stuff. You know what I mean?
But then I would have to take a nap.
Like a cigar in the office.
Right.
Sorry.
That's true. You're absolutely right. But back then it was easier. We know the channels. If they came up with a great idea or concept for client, it went to print, radio, television, right? Now we have more than 70 marketing channels. So what do you do? And so even smart marketers can get out of touch sometimes. And so that's what our job is, to stay in touch with it. So our sale is that we don't have a sale. And I always tell people that right up front. I say, we don't have an agenda other than to sell you on not having an agenda. That's our agenda. We're a third-party advocate for you. We're coming in. We're not trying to sell you Facebook ads. We want to sell you on, let us build it. Let us help you fill in the gaps and audit what you're doing if you have any room for growth. And let us build the best darn strategy for your company that we can. And the right tools will show themselves. But we're coming in unbiased. And let's see where you want to go, where you've been. Let's help you be the hero, and let's build it. Let's build out the best playbook for you. And that
I'm really curious. Do you have the 70 channels? But I don't think that got washed over. Really want y'all to get that. I can't confirm or deny it's 70. It sounds pretty.
It's over 70 now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right? People go, oh, it's only Facebook. I'm like, sweetheart. No. There's so much traffic out there in different channels. So I'm assuming I'm going to go with that. No fact checker over here, but it sounds right. 70 sounds pretty right. And so do you guys have a strategy to say, okay, this is the channels that you want? Do you have a playbook that you go through an audit process?
Yeah, we do. We're very methodical with how we do it. We start with doing our Cornell method of branding, where we look through and say, here's your unique value proposition. Here's where you fit on the price versus value timeline. And we go through with the brand and look and say, here's where you are. We go through and look at what all the competition is doing. We look at goals of client. We look at everything they've done to date, from every social post to, and this sounds exhaustive, but it's really not, and all the competition. And we say, here's what the landscape looks like. And then we really do a deep dive into, I know this sounds old school, but we really do look at the target customer again and understand a lot more for them than just their age. And we go deeper. And I would say, I find I talk about that in my book, often the target customer is not understood. And so if we get a better understanding of who they are and where they live and what they're doing, then we know if they should be doing an influencer campaign. Do we need to use influence platform? If not, maybe not.
The worst is, as a woman, when I hear, our target market is women between 40 and 50. And I'm like, how broad that is.
Right.
Like some women are really into yoga and incense.
Right.
Not every woman is into yoga and incense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not every woman wants kids. Not everyone wants a dog. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to get, like, the structure called a woman is like multifaceted.
Absolutely. So understand them. And I always share with people that look at your customer, and we do this for our clients. Look at your customer as they're your significant other, or they're someone you're in a relationship with. And if your significant other is a vegan, and you take them to the best steakhouse in town for their birthday.
They're going to hate you.
They're going to hate you. So know them, get to know them. So, and that sounds really broad, but it really is true. So we dig that deep and we say, let's understand them. Let's look at them. Let's understand them. And then it's easy. The right places to get them start showing up because you see where they live. You see what their world is like. You see what's important to them, where they make an emotional connection, what their value points are, all those things. When you do that, you go, great. Should I do Facebook? I don't know. Who the heck are you talking to?
Yeah.
Women. No, that's not enough. Women over 50. Okay, well, you got a little closer because women 55 plus are driving mobile usage. So, okay, but keep going. What do you mean women? What's your product? And we keep going and going and we dig until we get a better understanding of who this person is. But look at them as a person and find out the psyche of why they're buying, what's important to them, how do you build a relationship. That's what we do. And we build out those. And then we start going, okay, great. Here's who we know now. Here's your product and service. Here's who we know are the people that you need to reach, that we segment it out by two, however many you need to. Do they need unique messaging? And then we start to build bridges. How do we build bridges? What's the bridge? Is it that you need to be doing community involvement with them? And okay, what community involvement? Okay, so let's build that bridge so that you're coexisting together now. You're living in each other's worlds. What else do you need to do? How else do you need to reach them? Well, we're trying to find a way to geo-segment them. Okay, you said geo-segment, and they're long distance, so we do need to use some kind of technology, right? You see where I'm going with this. And you just by process of deduction and common sense, I say that, there's science to it, you start to develop what the best strategies are. And so our playbook says, here's everything. We start with a playbook. We're going, here's everything that you should and could do at some point to break bread and have a relationship with your target customer. Here's everything you could do. Now, we're not saying you do it all at once. And so our playbook, between all the segmentation and research, might be 150 pages, 200 pages long. Mm-hmm. The strategy part might be 50, 60 pages long. But at the end of it, here's what they get. Here's what the marketing manager, the CMO gets. They get a step-by-step calendar that says, here's your content strategy if you want for the next 12 months. You're welcome. Here's the step-by-step from January, February, March, April, May through December of every single action item that has to happen in order for these things to come through. And here's the day, week, month, seasonal to your business, quarterly, bi-quarterly, everything. We put all that in and say, and there's no guesswork. Here's exactly how to implement this playbook, and the phases should be done in the budget.
Wow.
And that is when the CMO or the marketing manager, even by title, can show their board and show their team, look, here's how and why. And they already do that. And some of them have great respect, and they may not be our target for me. But if there's anyone that has a gap in getting that done, we come in and they're like, great, let's roll. And we roll out in those 3 phases.
Awesome. Well, we're out of time, but I
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Love to keep talking with you. Where can everyone find you?
LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to people on LinkedIn. And then I've got this free webinar right now, which is marketingstrategywebinar.net. And I talk about the 5 crisis points in marketing. It's a free webinar. And I say it's a must-have for marketing directors or for those that are handling some aspect of the marketing, just to see the 5 crisis points we've identified with interviewing over 1,000 brands that we've worked with.
So say the URL again.
marketingstrategywebinar.net.
Awesome. Okay. And this is Derek Champagne. Go check him out. He's lonely in Arkansas. Just kidding. Fayetteville's actually awesome where you're at. It's great. We shared earlier that my family's from Hot Springs.
Yes, absolutely.
There's nothing there. All right. This is Heather Havenwood. Check us out at heatherhavenwood.com. Go check out Derek Champagne on LinkedIn and his webinar at marketingstrategywebinar.net. Everyone, this is Heather Havenwood. See you soon.
Have you ever wanted to stop the 9-to-5 grind and start your own company? Do you want to have more control of your income and your time? Then now is that moment to start and grow a successful business. As a female entrepreneur, I have succeeded. I have bit the dust. I have bounced back to growth and prosperity. But this would not have been possible without first taking the leap and owning my own business. But I didn't do it alone. I hired my first business coach 13 years ago. And now I help small businesses, solo practitioners, and professionals double their income and triple their time off. So let me help you too. My gift to you today is a free one-on-one strategy session. So go to coachwithheather.com, coachwithheather.com, and let me help you double your income and triple your time off.
Thank you for listening to Like a Boss, helping you rise to the top. Join Heather's mastermind at influencertribe.com, where she helps you become an influencer and dominate your field. Follow Heather Havenwood on Instagram. Interested in interviewing or scheduling a call with Heather? Go to callwithheather.com. For more, go to heatherhavenwood.com.